Energy.
Hi guys, welcome back to a bit of R&R. I'm Ruby Rhys.
And I'm Rhys Reviews, and this is the podcast where we take some time out to focus on ourselves and talk about what makes us happy.
And today we have a very special guest.
Where? It's me.
Say your name.
Say my name. Beyonce. No. Diva Divine.
No, we're so excited to have you on the
Yes.
pod, finally.
I'm excited to be here.
We're never going to go back to just us two now. We're going to constantly have guests. Like
have a guest.
Yeah.
Man.
And it'll
If
just
this one
be
is
you.
anything to go by.
Every time.
Literally, just you. Be like, right, who's coming on? It'll
We
just
should
be,
all
"Oh,
dress up as Diva. Have you got a birthday this year?
7th of April.
Okay, we should do a night of Diva Divines.
next year.
Oh my
yeah.
God, yeah.
And I will
That would
dress
be
up as
funny.
Davina. Davigne.
You can wear my
Davi-
bob. You can wear my bob.
Yes!
I've got the bob with me actually.
Just in
Just
case.
in case, yeah.
Have you got it on you now?
Yeah, in the bag.
Do you remember when we went to Morgan's?
Yeah, the first time you met Morgan?
Yeah, first time I
I've
met.
got pictures.
Well,
Might
yeah.
put them in the carousel, who knows?
We
Oh.
Morgan invited us over for drinks,
Yeah,
and he was just like, "Try on these wigs," and we just put
When
wigs
you
on.
lived in Loomis.
Oh!
Yes.
Actually, I saw your post about drinking and wigs on Instagram the other day.
You
You said about you put a video on Instagram about someone doing a wigs night.
Oh, week's night.
Yeah, I think we should do it.
Oh my God.
Well, like,
So
everyone-
just
Oh,
wear a
it's
wig
TikTok trend, isn't
Yeah.
it?
and just go out
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just live life in a
I
different.
would love that.
It doesn't have to be
We
anything.
all get
No, I
different
would
colour
wear a
bobs.
little one.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh,
bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would
Beat
you wear?
beat and call me Bob. Do you realise the joke of a bit of R&R?
What do you think it stands for?
I think you're overthinking it.
I don't.
So my first R, it's Ritalin.
Needed.
Never took it then.
Wait, I don't know what that is.
Never heard you say that before.
I know what Remy is, but
Remy.
Rennie's and Ritalin. That's my
Rennie and
that's
Ritalin.
My memoir.
I was going to say
I'm sorry.
double act.
do you know what? We're not paying you, but I'll get a
Excuse
hoodie.
me.
with-
That's not my thing right here. I'm ready to blow my nose with later. On the R&R podcast.
Do you remember we were going to start our group, the Mels?
The Mels.
The Mels. So we had this idea
Tell
of
me.
starting the
Oh
Mels,
my
right?
God,
Because
yeah.
you know,
It's
there's
like the Nolans, but shitter.
Yeah.
I love the Lowlands.
So you know, like there's Mel B, Mel C,
Yeah.
and we were like, we should have Mel A and like Mel D, and just be like old
Yeah.
ladies, just like as if at a brunch.
Yeah.
You have to
Oh,
yes.
yes. Can you imagine if like Diva just walked in and we had made everything? Just like, here's your outfit, here's your wig. And she
Like a
walked
Hannah
in.
Montana movie, like.
Yeah.
You can change your hair. you can change your clothes.
Did you see, very randomly actually,
I TikTok
I
on
keep
that.
forgetting
yeah,
to do the marketing.
and Miley Cyrus did an interview where she was like, I was the first ever drag queen. Well, the most popular drag queen,
Whoa.
because she was like, I was Miley and Hannah.
No, the first one was in 1912. 1912. So take that, Hannah Montana.
You just reminded me of a drag queen in Cardiff, and I don't know who it is. The way you went 1912. I don't know who it is.
1912, was
Miss
it?
Kitty.
It might be Miss Kitty.
Oh, I love this.
Probably Miss
I
Kitty.
love Miss Kitty.
I love Miss Kitty.
think
I
she's
want to
like,
go to a Monday.
marvelous.
I want to go to a
What do I do
Monday
for Snatch
show.
Game if I go on Drag Race?
Oh, you're going to do Miss Kitty? I feel like the references might be lost.
Okay. Second choice, Sue Sylvester.
Yeah.
I got the bob.
Oh, and you've got a storyline because you did Rachel Berry for Snatch Game.
My own. Horrendous. Horrendous.
Your little riff that you added, I'll never forget.
Little locked up.
I love
Do it for
it.
Broadway.
I just
In my mind, I was Liza Minnelli.
Oh, you should have done Liza.
What's a Liza song?
Liza with an S, not Liza with a Z.
It's Liza with a G, not Liza with an S, because Liza with an S goes schnoz.
Wow.
Liza
Liza's
Minnelli in the
got a
room.
list.
Liza! I was born with a lisp.
Me too, love.
I was tongue-tied. It's Friday night.
Where are we both tongue-tied?
Were we actually both tongue-tied? I had an operation when I was like, what's going on? 10?
Mine just lifted, apparently.
Really?
But
Wow.
also, my
It's from-
maturity went from 5 weeks to 6 weeks, so I don't know the truth anymore. I don't really know what's happening. to
And
my
your
life.
mother, the lovely African-American woman, it's just like,
At least
I was
wasn't
about to
dead.
do an impression. That's too far.
Yeah, maybe so. Cancelled on the R&R podcast.
I'm confused. .com.
Well, so me and Diva were both tongue-tied.
Oh.
It's happened
while you
before,
were
babe,
speaking-
hasn't it?
Fridays. Only on Fridays. That's my other job. A side hustle.
But what we're actually here to talk about today is like
Yes.
pride.
Yes, this is a pride.
Pride.
It's a pride episode. So
Again, for the audience in the back.
pride. Yes.
Every time I go like that, you whisper
We do
something. into the-
ASMR.
Wait, we have done. We have done. Yeah. So we're here talking about pride.
Yeah.
So I suppose the first question is kind of like, why is pride important? Why do we still have it?
To you.
To you, yes, not to the world.
I just think it's important because people are being killed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't there in the past, so I can't talk that much about the past.
Mhm.
But I just think there's that one thing of everyone in the queer community, whether they are, gay, trans, lesbian, getting beaten,
Mhm.
killed, whatever, just for walking down the street. On top of that, there's also that thing of pride was started by trans. Well, the whole Stonewall was a
Mhm.
thing because of trans people.
Mhm.
And no matter what you are on the spectrum, whether you're of, LGBTQIA, I'm not going to say plus because obviously that's allies, but
Yeah.
within the queer community is that thing of whether you're affected by it or not,
Mhm.
none of us would have had the rights unless it was for trans people. And obviously, the trans people having that Supreme Court ruling
Mhm.
is that thing of that also sets a precedent
Mhm.
to then have, more danger thrown towards them by people that are against trans people to start with.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
It adds more fuel to it. Of like,
Yeah.
I can pick out someone and go, you shouldn't be in this toilet
Yeah.
because you don't look how I perceive a woman, which is wild anyway.
You know what I mean?
But how I perceive a woman or how I perceive a man to look, I can pick on you and kick you out because you don't look the way I think you should look. It is crazy.
And then, like, none of us are safe, but
No.
there's parts of the community which are more unsafe than ever. Because, you hear a lot about, America, black trans people being killed. But now, it's never been that thing of you hear all that much, even though it has happened. You've never heard all that much about, the actual, about it happening so much in the UK. Like, people seem to think we're a lot more safer and a lot more exempt from that.
Here, it's like you don't need to be, and like you don't need to feel like you're unsafe, but actually it does happen. It
know what
just
I
doesn't
mean?
happen as much.
And it's that thing of it's gone now from being to a minimum compared to what it is now to now being more severe there.
Yeah.
I was walking here, you know what I mean? And I had literally the earrings and my face on, no wig, nothing. Like, literally, I was in normal outfits and literally some bits, I think they were trying to whisper, so I didn't hear. But obviously I heard.
Yeah.
They were like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Literally whispered it, and I was like, I'm used to it, obviously. But it's like that thing of...
That's sad that you should never be used to
You
that.
should. It
You know
shouldn't
what I mean?
happen that much that you are.
Like, oh yeah, I'm used to that now. I'm like I'm used to it. I can take anything, and you shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a
and
thing.
that's
It's
why we
disgusting.
need pride, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also that thing of, on the flip side, whilst we are slowly, potentially going backwards, and we need to stand now, it's that thing of, we have gone a long, long way from where we were in the UK.
And it needs
Obviously,
to be
I can't talk
celebrated,
on
that's
America,
it.
but you know what I mean? And
100%.
it's a celebration of that, but also a reminder of what we still need to do in order to really get safety for not just me, you, anyone. You know what I mean? And it's all linked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trans women being under attack then opens up for cis women to be under attack. And then, the only thing that really is technically safe these days is straight, white, cis males. And it's that thing of people have probably more now than ever such a defined view of what makes a woman, what makes a man, what makes trans, non-binary, all these things.
Yeah.
It's like people go, oh well, with the Jojo Siwa thing, people are going, oh well, she's just suddenly straight now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, well, no, because she's obviously not straight, but she's obviously not that she's somewhere there. Obviously, I can't talk.
No one can.
No one knows her really. You know what I mean? Apart from her close
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of us having everything that's happened this year and probably last year as well makes Pride 2025 and 26, 27 more important the more we go along like this. Because it's that thing of, you know, Pride is the reason why we've all gotten safety, but all of a sudden, America's having their human rights taken away. You know what I mean? Trans people not being in the military anymore. You know what I mean? Whether that's
the scrubbing of Stonewall documents from American.
Really?
Yeah, they've taken every document from the government websites.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing, it only starts there. Now they've taken the legality of trans people away. It's taken away their rights. It's that thing of, regardless of how you feel about trans people, queer people in general, for people that aren't within, who are in or with, who are in or out of the community, it's that thing of, we're human beings.
Yeah.
Human beings having their rights taken away is
horrific.
You know, is one of the most,
honest to God.
It's one of the most, outside of things like war, stuff like that, it's one of the most heinous things you can do to another person, is take away someone's rights and take away their validity as a human. And that's what people don't realise. To the cis people and the straight people, non-queer people, I say, how would you feel if your type of people, you know, obviously I say type of people, controversiality on
the recent reviews podcast.
I don't know anymore. But it's that thing of, if you think, well, I don't care about that, would you want other people to care? You know what I mean? Would you want to be on the receiving end?
Because it's happening to straight men. Well, it wouldn't be happening to straight men.
No,
but
it's the power.
So blunt, but you know.
Well, they've held the power for so long. They're the ones that set the patriarchy and the hierarchy of human rights, and it's that thing of,
and now they're taking it away.
You know what I mean? Unless it's a massive revolt and we take over and do the other way around. Not that we obviously would, because people think, you know, we're a danger to people. Or they think that we're odd, we're inhumane, we're not right in the heads. We're just like you. Know what I mean? Just funny. No, joking.
Just better looking.
The same as you
know what I mean?
I don't want to categorize myself, it's not me.
No.
But, you know.
That's the thing, obviously, there's no difference between me and there's no difference between you.
No.
Like, we connect on a deeper level as friends.
So we talked about kind of the importance of Pride, but like, do you have any like Pride memories, things that stand out, that stay in your...
My first Pride experience that I remember was like, I don't know if I was like 7 or 8, 9, one of those ages. You're right. You look like you're gonna burst out laughing. And yeah, it was fun. It was free back in the day, which I understand why you have to pay now, because obviously you have to pay performers, bar staff. Like, I completely get it. We're at a different time. But one time, not really Pride related, but I walked past the gay bar Wow, and there was a drag queen, and I said, "Mummy, it's Barbie." Aww. When I was 5 years old, yeah. And now all my friends are drag queens and kings. So it was destined, yeah, literally. You're funny, but no, I literally love Pride so much. Going back to you. She's never been invited. But oh no, I will. I was just gonna ask the question. Oh yeah, I mean, we know the question. Give us a mem. Give us a mem.
Oh. Am I green? I'm green. My memory was when I was at Pride last year, seeing Danny Beard, and oh my god, the guitarist did their little guitar solo. It's fabulous, and then shut the pick he was using. As he did, I went, turned around. I was like, mine. You know what you do in concerts like JLS, where they chuck their caps off at JLS. Yeah, I remember they used to like go, oh, put your hands up, and then chuck their caps, and you'd be like, mine. Well, that was me. That was my JLS moment. No, this was in Pride Cymru, in the actual castle. Last Pride. Yeah. And anyway, so I literally went, and then some girl picked it up. I was like, and then she went, oh. I was like, I was heartbroken, right? I was so upset. And some girl noticed, and she went, oh, do you want it? I have it still on my Beyonce altar to this day. Because I made a shrine to Beyonce in my room. I did.
Diva is a Beyonce fan.
Diva is a female version of a Beyonce fan. Of a Beyonce fan. Of a Beyonce fan. Yeah. With reviews.
Yes.
I'm going to paraphrase the question.
Okay.
What was your favourite memory of being in the LGBTQ plus Pride?
So I have, like the first time I went to Pride, they used to have like a karaoke tent thing, and there was one time, and I'm pretty sure he was a straight guy. He might have not been, but he gave off sort of straight guy energy. He went up and did Proud Mary, and straight guy energy. Straight guy energy. But he came up and did Proud Mary by Teen Turner, one of my like favourite songs. And yes, just like that. Obviously not as good as your one, obviously. But he came up. He came up. He wasn't the best singer, wasn't the best dancer. But like everyone was just like up on their feet singing, dancing along on the tables. And it was just like, oh, it didn't matter where you were from, how old you were, why you were there. Just everyone was getting involved. And like you were saying, it's time for like communities to come together and like
exactly what I think
just
right
yeah.
as well. Like, I just think like everyone's so, I don't know, can be themselves and express themselves and like there's no judgment. It's kind of like a portal from the outside world. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Just like a little portal.
I don't. That's how I feel like as soon as I'm in it, I'm like, oh my god, nothing else matters. I just love being in this like atmosphere. No one can hear me because I don't have a mic.
Well, everyone can hear me, my god, no.
We just got to project, which is fine.
But like, you're not about what obviously you said. Anyway, everyone can just connect. Take the mic.
You can.
Take the mic. Wednesday, the king. Take the mic. That's what I keep thinking every time I say it. But literally, it was what 2 Prides ago. Oh my god. I think we're all saying that. I think so, yeah. My first one in Cardiff. Yeah, because my last one was... Yes, because my first one was with my ex. Ooh. My ex. Ooh. He's a he left me to go speak to his family after hours of not being there. We were going to meet at like 1. He found me at like 4. I made friends with everyone. I was walking around for an hour. I drank about 9 Strongbows. Was it Strongbows? The purple Carling? That one. Yes, but it was like the rip-off version of Pride Can Be Like to do. Yeah, but I was under the time of my life. I had 9 throughout the space of the day.
The drinks at Pride Camry, please sponsor the pod.
Yes, but
and the +1.
and the Divalicious Diva. But no. Anyway, so I literally was like, what? So anyway, I did the classic. Walked past, spy on him. I was like, why is he not spending time with me? So I walked past and he looked at me and I went, and then like I look up and down to be like, dead, that one. Then, anyway, so I then started to chat to a random girl. One of my closest friends came on their own. She was just like this. She was in her 40s, just a straight woman who like had loads of gay friends, but she just went to like Pride. And that's the night I met Ruby Rhys. No, but no, literally, I mean, we're still friends to this day, literally about 2 years ago. And it's like, for me, it's just like, it's connection. Because it's like that thing of like, now like people that aren't queer also go to it, whereas
It's just a fish.
the fish had a lot to say. What do you think of gay rights? He just said, that's all we need to know in the R&R podcast review. Because he's like part French, right? My friend I made at Pride used to call him Bonsoir or like Francois or something.
Oh,
And she was like, oh, Francois. I was like, no. Parker. Shout out to Parker.
Earlier in the interview, you said about walking in your drag face, coming to here. So why did you start drag? How did that come to be?
Well, I always wanted to be a star. No, I'm joking. But no, I started to be an actor. There, I literally from what I was doing all the school shows. Eventually, when I was 10, I was having a midlife crisis, right? So I went, I'm gonna. Sorry, year 10.
Oh, right.
I was like 15. I was gonna be like an SA in a school.
Yeah.
Like disabled kids in teaching.
Yes, yeah.
And because I had a brother who was obviously who had a disability there. So for me, it was important for me. But in the end, I was no, I don't want to. That night, you know what I mean? I was I don't want to go back to that. You know what I mean? So I was like, no. So I was like, we like fostered some kids.
Okay.
So we fostered my cousins, and that just sort of it all went to pot really. So it's that thing of I was a little bit of like a depressed stage, and I went, you know what? I was doing Annie in school. I was doing Annie. I was fucking Bert Healy, the fucking guy on the radio.
Yes, yeah.
The radio presenter, Bert Healy. I remember that. I did fake tap dancing and everything for that. I loved
fake
it.
tap dancing. That is a sin.
I can't tap dance, so I was like, no, I loved it. Yeah, I have a little fabulous moment in the musicals, but no, I was everything actually. I was about 3 different fucking roles in that show. Just what someone punched a teacher or slapped a teacher and then got expelled, and I was the police officer. I had to work with a little dog.
Oh, that's okay.
Dog.
You were also Annie.
No, that was.
You were the dog. You were the Annie.
I was Annie. I was a Hannigan. I was the orphanage.
What's the orphanage?
I was like, here I am. Look at me. Here I am.
And that is why Diva's a drag queen today.
That's why I am the slapper of Cardiff. Yes.
But I did the other side of that. I directed school shows.
Yeah.
Yes, I did Beauty and the Beast in my last school.
And I filmed them.
You didn't even come to the show. Just throwing that out there.
Have you ever seen school?
No.
No, we met in Kings.
Yeah.
In April 2023.
Lot thinking.
Yes, we did have our friendship anniversary a couple of episodes ago.
If you watched.
No.
No.
But yeah, and I think those school shows are so important, especially for anyone, is to find that community like you were talking about earlier, and finding yourself.
I was a school showgirl. You know,
yes.
I was in all the shows from year 8 to 11.
You're kind of destined to be on stage then.
You know what I mean? I loved it. So I had
centre stage.
I had fun, but in the end I was like, no, I'm going to be an actor. So
Okay.
years went by, and then as I was doing Annie, all goes back to Annie. It all goes back to Annie. I found out about RuPaul Drag Race, and I watched it on TV. And when I was like, what? Because I left school when I was 16. 2016 really, but everything else did. But I did that, and then the year I was doing Annie, which was like 2015, I literally found out about Drag Race, and then I was in college. I think it was my first year, 2017. I was like, I'm gonna be a drag queen, and I was like, no. I'm gonna stick to, because I was doing just plays and films, like
okay.
that sort of
just like
acting.
straight
Not
acting.
like musicals, just that on its own.
Yeah.
So just acting, plays. It was a fabulous time. But I halfway through, I obviously discovered it anyway. But I was like, no, I'm not gonna do drag. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna keep it normal. Bear in mind, cut 2022. There was like a local drag competition like in my uni.
Okay.
So it was like one of my good friends in my course was collecting an acting degree, obviously. So my friend in my course had been doing drag a few years, but like in the bedroom, like bedroom drag. And there was a few people that just did it sort of like just to have fun that one night. Do you know what I mean? This other person was like, I'm gonna be drag queen, and then literally was just like didn't ever do it after the second time. You know what I mean? But it was literally by Shazza Fierce and Auntie Ginger.
Okay, yeah.
Very well known Manchester queens.
Yeah.
I went through a different.
I know Auntie Ginger.
But no, I went to a different name at the time. It was a Welsh name, and no one. I was in England. No one could understand it. I was like, I was like, let's do a different name. And it also stemmed from there really. So I went through multiple names. I'm probably on my 5th name. Not gonna lie to you.
What was your previous?
So I had Bronwyn. Because I wanted like Cher, Madonna.
Bronwyn.
That was my thing. I was like one name.
Yeah.
Welsh. So I was like Bronwyn. And then Ginger was like, do like Bronwyn. I was like, oh maybe. And it was always Bronwyn. And then I was like, after the second time doing it, I was like, no, that's shit. I was like, no one knows what I'm saying. They asked, they question it every time. So I was like, no, I'll do Glitter Divine. Okay. And I want to be like after like the old school like disco divas, 70s. And I love disco music, so it was that. And then I think at one point I wanted to do like a gender fuck route, and it was like Pink Man. I was going to do like Pink Face. Like, I thought it was like the offensive term. That I was going to do like I think this is all pink. And I told you once and once that it was horrendous. And eventually I was like, well, I'll go back to that. Obviously, Glitter Divine. Then all of a sudden I was like reading about, you know, the like Mariah Carey people on Instagram with like she's just become like a character of herself.
Yes, yeah.
And I was like, wait. I was like, That's what I want to do. I want to do me like almost like a caricature of myself, like to a 10, and it's going to be a lot more over the top than what I do now, believe it or not. But no. So I could do that, but like Diva Divine is based off Mariah Carey, based off of that. So in the end, I came up with Diva.
Yeah, well, Mariah Carey, the biggest diva.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, see what I mean? It's all thought out.
You are smart, babe. And that's what people are boring.
And now in our podcast review, we got smart and everything. But no, so it...
not.
Exactly, that's my thing. No, joking. But no, so that's where it all came from. And I was always going to be a performer. It's always going to be... I started to be an actor either way. But either way, I was like, I want to be a superstar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously, I sort of figured out in college, I was like, I really like... The normal acting isn't, you know, I'm too big for that because I don't do so. I don't. I do like over the top.
I thought you did.
Love subtlety. Just sat in my garden in full drag.
I'm very subtle.
You started and you cut forward a couple of years and growth and development.
Yeah.
I actually judged you in a talent competition.
Set me out. I'm joking.
The week I was on the panel, you did unfortunately go home.
And it was because of Rhys.
No, you really didn't say it.
I did, yes, yeah.
No, so
just saying, it's alright. You deserved it.
I had that.
And like just seeing your growth from like a few, like, you know, you did Sly as well. Seeing your growth from Sly to even just, what was the first one? Was it Raw Variety? No, it was Jodie's. Which one was first?
So I did
Sly.
Yeah, Sly was first.
Yeah, so I did my uni days and I love that. I did uni days and then I was so specific for a bit, so I didn't have anywhere to keep anything, I couldn't order anything, and I was like in a new build.
Yeah.
So no one could deliver to my house. I took like a year's break, so I say obviously when I started in Cardiff was like my debut, even though I did it a little bit before. But I started, first of all I did the King's Full Variety, the Aquina's thing.
Yes,
I love Aquina.
Where we won her performance.
Yes, for her.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was. Yes, that's the story of the pink blazer origin. Yeah.
How was it?
Yes.
I knew they were in the kitchen. I was just trying to do one of my first ever.
Yes, yeah.
And it was fucking horrendous. And they took it off and gave me a
You have
hard.
that far. Like literally.
All the way.
You did walk.
But we were talking about before, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning it. That those when we did that performance with Aquina, you know you were struggling to put the lace front on. You were the makeup. Aquina needed to tutor you through certain things, and
that's absolutely fine.
That,
Everyone starts at a start.
The pretty girls there
stuff,
now. My thing is, as long as you get better and better and better, and
that's the more experience you have in it, and you have, honestly.
That's what people say to me. They say you always get better and better. I'm listening.
You are.
I mean, I know I'm not, obviously, even now, I'm like, I don't think I'm perfect. There's plenty of me to improve
on. As long as you're willing to grow.
But that's what it's about, you know what I mean?
And then from there, obviously then Johnny's Drag Race.
Yes, when my first time consistently doing drag.
Yes, yeah.
Week after week, the first time actually in, when was it? June? August?
It was
around that time of year.
What was it like then, going from doing it once in a blue moon to constantly every week and having to turn looks to do a performance as well? What was that like?
Well, it was a lot of, I didn't even know how to do a lash. I auditioned, I think my lashes came off. I don't even know how, literally, I lost my lashes, I left them in the car, then I had to get somebody to run back for me.
So I remember this.
And then I was like, put them on, and I was like, fuck, I don't know how to put on the lash. So I was like, I'm going to go do it on my own because you're all distracting me. That was a little, what's it called, like a decoy.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So no one could see me struggling to put on the fucking lash. I mean, weeks later we were doing the promo, I was being able to do a lash. You know what I mean? I went from not being able to do that to then having to, because I had maybe 3 pieces of clothing in my drag wardrobe. Whereas now I have plenty of stuff, you know, I have wigs and shit, I have all these things now. But at the time, first time probably doing it, the audition was the first time I painted my OG proper face.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Obviously, like you took that picture where I was like, yay. You know what I mean? It was my black leopard print. That was the first time I ever painted like that. I painted very more like this now, but it was garbage. So you know what I mean? Like, it was I hold my head up high.
Can't dish yourself who can, you know.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't good, and I thought it was, but obviously I had people to nurture me, help me grow. I went from not ever doing it to, to doing it. What I think it was in what 4 or 5 weeks.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you grew the most in that time as a drag queen?
No.
Next question.
Do you feel like you had the most growth in that period of time because you were doing it every week?
It was the most growth in terms of I was doing drag for the first time,
Yeah.
but I also left the competition, which obviously I feel like I left at the right time. I left the episode before the semi-final, so it was like, I lasted fairly long.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It was like, what, I was like the fourth one out, but obviously they was within and out, and it was,
Yes, yeah. There was a lot going on.
But I value Jodie Drag Race a lot, as much as I'm like, no, I didn't. I did a lot in terms of doing drag and getting in drag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it was the first time I was like gluing down lace fronts and actually like doing proper drag makeup, because I was very just like pretty like cross-dresser. And that's what I did originally. I was a cross-dresser. I wasn't a drag queen. You know what I mean? Like, but it's that thing of I learned how to do the basis of drag, but what I didn't learn was what the the British drag is all about is full entertainment mode. You've had amazing queens of the past, like Miss Jason, people of the past, who have unfortunately aren't with us, but they look like your nan. They have the thick, just one shade blue eyeshadow, and the white wearing like literally like not all that to the modern standards of like American drag, like now drag like a lot of like the Bob Mackie and the fashion element of it, where the old queens who looked like literally like they were just wearing a big
like your granddad in a dress.
You know what I mean? But they were the best entertainers.
Performers,
You know what I mean? They were the people that paved the way for UK drag. You know what I mean? And it's that thing of I didn't have that element of drag. An element of, I could put a wig on, I could put makeup on my face, but I didn't have chops to actually
hold a room and
I was a lip syncer.
I know. I feel like now though, like watching you evolve from like, let's just go back to like the first time we did the Mean Girls thing. I know you weren't like actively performing as much as you do now. Like, honest to God, I'm not just saying this as your friend. Like, you are genuinely, how much I support you. I tell you every single fucking day. Such a chore of mine. But
there's some charity there. Charity there. Baby Rose, Travelodge worker, social media influencer, charity worker.
Literally, that I can see as a bystander, charity worker. I think, honestly, you've come so far. Do you agree with how
totally.
Like, started to, but you obviously, I love how you're like, I can still grow. You're not like, I'm amazing, I'm perfect. Which I think a lot of people see themselves in, whether they're a drag performer or they're not, or they just, do whatever in life.
Well, I always said when I was in like high school that I was like, I was in a weird group of people. So I was in a mix of trans kids, I was in a group of emos and theatre kids, all sort of in the same people. Yeah. All people were those three. It was like an eclectic mix of like queers, you know what I mean? I loved it. But I was a little emo, I loved it. I was a wallaby emo though. I was a Simo.
Right.
Simo.
What's that mean?
Emo.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, gothic, but it's like emo. But it's like a wannabe emo.
Oh, wannabe.
Yeah, it was weird.
What's a wannabe?
It was a weird time in my life.
A weird time.
I was going somewhere with this, but I forgot where I was going. I'm sat now.
You sat now, bitch. Oh god.
But yeah, so I mean, we were talking about how much you've grown, and one of the performances that I don't think I will ever forget was the first time seeing you do It's All About the Church at Drag to Church.
Iconic.
So that was the competition that got me to where I am now. Yes.
So how did that start? Where did that number come from? How did you put it together?
Yeah.
It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Gosh.
To gosh.
If you're watching anything.
Josh, yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't like him.
really hot. Anyway.
No, but honestly,
exclusive on the hour.
Should we do my question first before we get back to you? So where did that number come from? Where did All About the Church, how did that come to be?
So really...
Was there a little rendition of it?
No.
Asking that question, I'm thinking you're a sinner.
I am.
It's all about the church in this garden. Anyway, it's all about the
Holy Spirits.
But listen, all I can say is we're going to make the devil sweat.
Please go on Diva Divine's wall link the socials below and watch the videos.
Change the chain in about the bling bling bling. We're going to make the church dance. We're going about the sinners. And then I speak tongues.
I think honestly that's my favourite performance of you ever.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that song
it links back to my religious roots. But at one point I was like, I'd love to be able to speak tongues. What would it be like? Then that's why I started speaking tongues. I was like, I've always wanted to do that. But then I also started learning Hebrew.
Okay, Hebrew, yeah.
Yes, Hebrew. But I lasted about half hour. My religious teacher gave me like an alphabet sheet. These are the alphabet, and I was there for ages trying to pronounce it. But as a speech impedimented girl, the impedimented diva,
the impedimented,
the impedilicious diva. Anyway, that's me. But I was like, I gave up. Just like with Lego, I can do Legos. So anyway, I was like, no.
Obviously, the classic Hebrew language and Lego, same thing. I hear that all the time.
All about with association, people at home, viewers. Anyway,
all three of you.
The full fucking wall, yeah. And yeah, no, so anyway, it was the drag to church. Heat.
It was the final one because it was in Kings.
Heat 4, wasn't it?
Heat 4, yeah.
Yeah, Heat 4. And really, we're talking about schedule. I'm working every day for that one. I've got to do that. So anyway, for a while, I thought, I just lip sync. I can't really. I was like, I don't do comedy. I hadn't developed a lot of it. But I had a hunch. The hunch was right.
Okay.
That it was because I hadn't learned to do the live singing, the live comedy, because lip syncing can be quite restrictive.
Yes, yeah.
If you're great at it, you're great at it. There's some amazing dragons out there. Cardiff, not drag Cardiff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have people like DJ Miss C. You have people like Chlamydia. I think.
Yes, yeah. Chlamydia,
The bougie.
Yes, the bougie brunch. Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot. There's a lot of.
Incredible.
There's a lot of amazing lip syncers. There are some really old school lip syncers that paved the way for drag, and that is fine. But for me, whilst there were those amazing lip syncers, for me I found it quite restrictive. It wasn't until I really started singing live and I knew the way that I was going to unlock, obviously what I do now, was to actually live vocal be cabaret really. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas now, obviously, I do my own little thing. You know what I mean? But it's that thing of, for me, it started with obviously drag to church, church. It actually came through me. I was gonna do. It's pretty generic. What was it? It was just.
You told me about this, and then you said you're gonna change it.
Yeah, it was
we talked about it, and I said about Little Donkey. And
but that was the final. This was
right, that was the
I heard about Little Donkey.
Yeah, well, I was doing what I thought was cabaret. I mean, I was doing very much what I thought people thought drag was. I was doing it very much trying to be, however, but then it was actually me and my liege who actually, came up with that, because my niece was like, this is a bit boring, you could do more than that. And then we were brainstorming, and then it literally just came through a joke I made. I think one of us made the joke, just hitting around, and then we went, actually, that can work. You know what I mean?
Honest to God.
It was genuinely one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time.
You're so funny. And I think you don't think you're as funny as you actually are, which makes it more funny.
I find comedy quite hard. I'm always
you're very witty, got a very dry sense of humour, which I think a lot of people love. I just think you're great. So, quick question: where do you see yourself in the next 5 years as Diva?
Dead. No, I'm joking. No, but can I do my blue sky thinking now?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my blue sky ideal is obviously, I was saying this years ago when I was leaving uni, but for me it's being consistently working, having 3 things really: consistently working, having like a strong, grand and strong performance, being truly skilled at what I do, and also having that specific style and type of drag, which is so distinctive but very refined. That's what it is for me. Always striving to be as professional and as as good at what I can do, or as good at what I do as I can be. And that's obviously what I look for in 5 years. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm what we would do a 6 year in drag. So really elevating everything to its fullest and really being something you can go all over and do anything anywhere.
I love that. It's a very achievable goal, by the way.
And sort of where can people find you, stay up to date with you?
Yeah, which socials at?
So you can find me on Instagram at Diva Divine 100. You can also find me on TikTok, because he's an influencer now. He is Divas influencer.
Yeah, check out the recent TikTok.
Yes.
I'd rather not. I'm not joking. But Diva Divine, also Diva Divine 100, and Facebook Diva Divine.
Fabulous. And that's all the time. And on Grind.
Grindr, POF, OF,
Christian Mingle. Farmers
and
only.
also coffee morning every Tuesdays at St John's.
Wow.
Thank you.
But that's all the time we have.
Yes, it's been absolutely fabulous having you as our first guest. Thank you so much for coming.
And thank you for having me as
No
well. It's been
problem.
absolutely fabulous.
We've had a great time.
Any time, honestly, it's been so fun.
I'll be back tomorrow.
I regret saying that. But no, that's everything for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Thank you to Diva. If you want to be featured on our podcast, you can email us at abitofrr@gmail.com. We do also have our socials. Our TikTok and Instagram are abitofrr and our podcast. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yes.
Our last video will be linked in the description. Rate us 5 stars. And don't forget to follow the Wonderful Diva on all the socials. Everything will be linked in the description box.
But yeah, that's all the time we have. See you soon and
Bye.
bye.
Bye, babe.